Okay, so welcome to the self-guided version of the My New Good Life Plus program. So I'll explain a little bit more about that later. So this is the first time I've run it as a self-guided program. We're just completing the pilot of the guided program. So I've learned an awful lot over the last 6 months or so that I've been running that, and made quite a few updates to the program. So I hope you will find it valuable. So the objectives of this little session, so as you know, what I'm doing here is it's a bit unusual and it's semi-self-guided. I was a bit anxious about letting you just dive into it on your own for the first time. So I wanted to come along with you on the journey just to make sure that it works as a self-guided program. So I'll be following up closely, and if you've got any questions along the way, please let me know. But here are the objectives of this little session. So hopefully get to know each other a little bit better. Maybe you know each other already, but if you don't, this was an opportunity to kind of introduce each other, because I would like to encourage you to work together in a small pod. I think you'll get a lot more out of it if you can work with at least one other person. So we're going to look at the context and objectives of the program as a whole, the My New Good Life Plus program. We're going to welcome Nikki. We're going to look at the whole learning journey, the My New Good Life Plus learning journey. And then we will explore or look back on the preparation phase, which you should by now have done. So hopefully you had the opportunity to look at the preparation phase of the program. Hello, Nikki. If you haven't, it's no problem, you can catch up on it. But if you've got any questions on that, we can have a conversation about those. So Nikki, just to know, I'm recording this. If you don't want to be seen, you can turn off your screen. And then we're going to look forward to the first phase, which is the person and context, and summarize the next steps, my suggestion. So because it's self-guided, it's entirely how you want to run it, you know, at whatever pace you want to go at with whoever you would like to work with. So it's entirely up to you, but I'm going along with you to try and make it as effective for you as possible. So just if we could just have some introductions. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn off or pause the recording so that we can have a quick conversation. If you, oh, yeah, so I'm going to. So we've had a quick introductions. Thanks for that. So I just want to next review the context and objectives of the program before we move on to the other aspects. So the My New Good Life learning journey was, the original idea was it was designed for anybody, so anybody could go on it. But because we found interest within the EMCC, we've mainly focused on coaches. So the next so coaches who came out of the My New Good Life learning journey often said, okay, that's interesting, but how do I actually apply this in my coaching practice? And so that's really what this program was designed to do, which was to take the learning from the My New Good Life program and help you apply it within your coaching practice. So we go deeper into the New Good Life concepts and tools, and we also go broader because we introduce in this program the whole of the New Good Life canvas, more of which in a second. And we also wanted to provide more opportunities to give you a chance to kind of practice the skills that are maybe more unique to the My New Good Life program. So put the skills into practice and integrate it, as I say, into your coaching practice. So that was why we decided to go ahead and develop this program. So the objectives really are continuing as individuals to learn and grow. So we're all about learning and growing. So of course we want to continue to learn and grow ourselves. And I've learned a lot just in the last 6 months from facilitating the group of people who went through the pilot of the My New Good Life Plus program. Enable you to more effectively support your clients, either in a coaching role or possibly in a training role. So we know that most coaches don't earn a full-time living just on the coaching. Some people also have kind of a coaching part to their business. And so what we wanted to do was to provide you with a program that you could run if you're interested in running a training program on the My New Good Life, more of which again in a second. And make it, if you're independent, and so I know that some of you aren't, but if you were an independent coach, we are very conscious of the fact that if you can't attract clients and make money from this, there's not much chance of you using it. So I'm very much focused on trying to support independent coaches, bring this into the world and make a decent living while they do so. Okay, so just in terms of that last point, making a decent living, for those of you who are independent and have any spare time, so there was the My New Good Life program, which you've all followed. And some of the feedback we got from that is particularly for non-coaches, maybe the My New Good Life program was a bit too much, there was a bit too much in it. So we've started developing, well, we've got the development done in outline at least, the My New Good Life Light program, which we're also calling Thriving in Disruption to give it a more sort of organizational, comfortable name. And so that's, most of you, I think you've been invited to that. So, and I know that some of you are already in there, so you've had a chance to look at the demo site. We're still working on it. We also developed a program called Making an Impact, which was designed to address the question, okay, so I want to have a new good life, but how can I make a positive impact in the world? So we piloted a program, Making an Impact, last year. And we have also just completed, as I say, the pilot of the My New Good Life Plus program, which is about how can I use the My New Good Life in my coaching practice. And so completing this program would then lead into, if you want to go further, how would you apply that either as a consultant within an organization or a kind of more leadership coach within an organization? So that's where we are planning to go later in the year, add some additional programs to help you maybe go just a little bit further and applying this stuff within organizations. So completing this My New Good Life Plus program opens up that opportunity to follow the further program if you're interested, but it also gives you the basis to facilitate a program called the My New Good Life Light program. So we see kind of two opportunities for you, either in your coaching or, if you're interested, facilitating perhaps small groups through a learning journey. So I say we go broader. We cover in this program all of the aspects of the transformational canvas. Now you're probably at this moment thinking, Lord, what's that? So it is quite complicated, but by the end of the program, you'll feel completely comfortable with this, and if you're anything like the pilot group, beginning to love it. But I'm going to try and do a better job of explaining what's this all about by taking you through the My New Good Life Light program, because the My New Good Life Light program basically follows aspects of the canvas. And so I'm going to explain to you the Light program, both so that you know what's in that, but also it helps you understand the canvas a little bit better. So this is kind of core to the My New Good Life Plus program as a whole. So this is the My New Good Life Light program, which we're calling at the moment Thriving in Disruption, because it helps people thrive, adapt and thrive in growing uncertainty and change. And so for the first one, the now of you, we start off within the My New Good Life Light program with kind of taking stock. Where are you now? What are your kind of complaints, and how do we turn them into objectives? Then we have the vision. And so that's very much like what was in the My New Good Life program. So coming up with some kind of sense of what a new good life would look like for you. And then commitments, which is maybe we didn't cover in the My New Good Life program, so it's a bit new. It's about what are my inner saboteurs or protectors, and what kind of commitments do I need to make to them to enable me to move forward on my journey? So how do I keep them comfortable so that they don't hold me back? Then we look at the kind of my essence and gifts, which we touched on briefly in, I think, in resources. And so this is in the explore your identity. We're looking at who are you at your fundamental level, and what kind of gifts do you bring to the world. And also in the now, we look at those people around you. So we map the people around you so we know who can help you on your journey and maybe who might get in your way. And then we have this museum and basement elements, which are really about what parts of me can I either put in a museum. I'm happy I've had them in my life, but they no longer serve me, and I'm going to put them in the museum. Or there's some stuff that's still going on for me, and I'm not ready to deal with it yet. So it's going to go in my basement, and I'll come back to it another time when I'm more ready. So kind of dealing with your shadows. And then we have the external world and the facing the global threats, just as in the Mind Your Good Life program. So we explore what's going on in the world, because obviously achieving your new good life needs to take account of that. And then we have the mission element, combining my sense of what my gifts are within this emerging world. How can I make a difference? And then we have the 3 horizons, which is more about planning. How can I turn this into action? Immediate action, action which enables transformation in the future. And horizon 3, I can start putting some ideas or elements of my new good life into practice to play with them. And then finally, as I go through my new good life journey, how do I maintain some kind of balance? So that's what's in the My New Good Life Light program, and it's what we cover also in the My New Good Life Plus program, but in a slightly different order. Any questions on that? Thank you, Siobhan.
Rob, I think it's been recorded. It's okay.
Okay, let me just pause. Okay, so that's what's in My New Good Life, structured in a way that can make sense. So it's kind of a logical journey, but when you're using the canvas as a coach, you might decide to move around in quite a different approach. So you might start in the now and then go and look at what's going on in the world. So this is only one of many possible ways you could take people through the My New Good Life canvas. If you're a coach, you go just wherever the need is. So as I say, there are 2 ways of using it. There's one is you use it as a kind of a template in my mind. I know all that I could be talking about. Where do I go next? And there is a guide. So the people who went through the pilot were very helpful in terms of helping us get clear about what we need to explain. So we've created the Mind Your Good Life guide, which gives you more information. And I think I included it in an earlier email, so you should have it anyway, but it's in the first phase of the Mind Your Good Life Plus program. So we're trying to provide you with a lot more information about actually how would you put this into practice, because that was clearly missing by the end of the Mind Your Good Life Mind Your Good Life program. So and so this is one way we're thinking of how would we, if we went to talk to an HR person. So the Mind Your Good Life Light program is, you don't know whether you noticed, but it's broadly based on the hero's journey. So that was the original inspiration for it. But talking about hero's journey may not be the easiest sell. So for people talking to HR people and trying to get really clear about what will this do for you, one way of describing it, and I'm sure this is going to evolve, but we focus on 3 core skills for surviving or thriving in a complex and rapidly changing world: personal resilience in disruption, strategic clarity in uncertainty, and leadership maturity and stakeholder intelligence. So those were, I think, that are really addressed by the program. And so in sort of HR speak, I think this is what we're kind of promising with the program. If people go through this program, they come out at the end much more capable of thriving in a disruptive, rapidly changing, sometimes destabilizing world. So that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so the journey itself, the Mind Your Good Life Plus learning journey. So the red stuff is what you will get in the self-guided. So you should have done the preparation phase, and if not, you can zip through it. It shouldn't take you long. We have understanding the person and the context, which is really about, okay, trying to get to know the person through the kind of My New Good Life lens. So we can figure out if and how My New Good Life might be relevant for them. And then this follows the structure of the My New Good Life program. How do we support clients to create their New Good Life vision? How do we help them explore the resources they will need along the journey? How do we help them deal with threats? So actually manage their emotions so they are more able to feel at ease as threats unfold. And then how do we support clients build strategies to implement their New Good Life? Okay, so that's what's really covered by this program that you're going through. So there are these 5 phases. You should finish the first one. You've got 4 more to do. And probably it'll take you about 6 months, or, well, depends how fast you want to go. If you want to, at the end of this, you say, well, it would be really good to take some time looking at case studies and putting this more into practice and coaching each other, then we can talk about how we might go further. But this is the red is what is in the self-guided version. And again, there are learning adventures. I say approximately 90 minutes. So, you know, I'm still having trouble maintaining myself to 90 minutes. So there's options. And we'll go through it in a bit more detail. But if you kind of stick to the basics, I think you can go through fairly within the 90 minutes, but probably you will want to come back at some stage. But it might be better to go through the program, each of the learning adventures in phases, and gradually absorb it. So I recommend working in pods, because you'll get so much more, I think, at least one other person to have the conversation with. Encourage you to work together with others to just try practicing the New Good Life approach. And then if you're interested, then I'm as a one-off here, I'm referring for this particular guided version, this sort of check-ins per phase, so that I'm with you. And if you have any questions, we can always talk as we go through the program. Don't hesitate to reach out if you've got any questions. But I thought for this phase this program would come together at the end of each phase, and we'd have 30 minutes together just to make sure everything's going okay. Okay, so in the pods, basically, it's the same as before. It can be helpful to have others with whom to process the information, but also you could start practicing with each other. So before you risk it on a live client, you might want to try coaching each other. And Bernard and I have recorded some coaching demonstrations for you. So see, people seem to like them. So we've got a couple so far. And yeah, in the learning adventure, there are lots of questions. So my suggestion is don't try filling them all in. Just pick 1 or 2 that resonate with you. If you want to stick to the 90 minutes, there are quite a few questions. Read them. If they resonate with you, think about them further. But if not, ignore them and move on. Okay, so it's self-guided, so whatever suits your needs. And if there's anything I can do to help at any stage, please let me know. I really want to make it a success for you. Okay, and you need to self-organize into pods. Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you, really. If you need help, let me know. So the preparation phase, I'm just going to invite you to ask any questions. Was there anything that was unclear from the preparation phase? Anything you need to ask at this stage? So if you remember the task completes, we looked at the global environment, the context, which was a bit similar to My New Good Life. We talked a little bit about coaching the age of AI, our organization, the overview of the program, how you can go about maximizing learning, how it relates to EMCC competencies, the CITRA framework, frequently asked questions, some guidelines, and right at the end, the saboteurs. Sorry, for some of you, you may be familiar with the saboteurs assessment. I find it quite helpful, and it's one way of getting clearer about what the inner protectors or saboteurs might be in your case. So there is this 10-minute questionnaire, which I think is very good, offered free by Positive Intelligence. So that's what we covered in the preparation phase. Any particular questions about that?
Hi, Rob.
Do you want me to mute?
Oh,
All right, so let me just whisk through a couple of other things. So we've covered that. So I'm taking rather longer than I promised, but so the first one, person and context. Yeah, let me just take you through person and context so that you've got a sense of what's in it. So you should be able to see phases 0, and this afternoon you should see phase 1. And it's a bit similar to how it worked in the Mind Your Good Life program. We've got a case study, which is Ava. So we've tried to find somebody who is in the pilot group. People said that we meet this sort of person quite a lot, and she would be a great example of a person we would take the Mind Your Good Life through. So that's the Ava case study. And you'll find in the recordings, I think, probably we're talking about Ava case study. But in the person context, I'll just take you very quickly through it. So it's about identifying potential Mind Your Good Life clients. Who would make a good Mind Your Good Life client? The maturity, the types of issues that they bring, additional criteria you might want to think about. We look about contracting with New Good Life, Mind Your Good Life type clients, how it might be different. Because of the worldview focus, because we bring in global challenges, because we work with multiple dimensions of self, etc., etc. So how might contracting look differently for a Mind Your Good Life potential client? And so in the appendix, there's we talk a little bit more about worldviews, which we explore later in the program. I provide a draft contracting checklist and a draft of the coaching agreement for Mind Your Good Life clients. So that helps you at least get started. And then we look at the transformation canvas. I introduce it in this first phase. So you come across it here. So you're a little bit familiar with it now, but I took through each of the different phases, different elements within the canvas, how you go about working with the canvas. There is an example of how we kind of phased how you might take a client through the coaching process with a Mind Your Good Life. And there's a coaching guide. If you click, you can download the coaching guide. I think I sent it around earlier. Here's an example of a canvas. It might help if you're interested. And then using the canvas to understand the person. So the first phase is about understanding the person in context. How would I use the canvas to help me do that? So you see there's lots of questions, some of which might resonate with you and others which won't at all. So just ignore the ones that don't. And then we come back and we revisit some of the coaching tools you came across in the Mind Your Good Life program and how you might apply them. So it's a little bit of revision. And then there's the elements, a little bit of revision about the elements and how you might use the elements to better understand the person. So remember we had this equalizer type idea. So where's a person strong, where's a person less strong? This can be very helpful in terms of thinking through how you might approach a person in a Mind Your Good Life learning journey. And I've also done a guide to using the elements in coaching, which will come soon. So that's all in there. And then balancing of the elements. So it's a bit of a refresh on the elements because they're so important. And a whole pile of questions, some of which you could just ignore if they're not resonating with you at this stage. And then the final reflection and a little bit of review of worldviews. I don't think we had much on worldviews in the Mind Your Good Life program. I'm getting a bit confused now. And here's the contracting checklist and a draft coaching agreement. So that's all in the first phase. So basically, if you did nothing but do the first phase, you'd have an awful lot to help you with your Mind Your Good Life coaching. So I looked at it and I thought, it's a bargain. I hope you'll find that too. All right.
Yeah, it is.
And then just briefly, the next steps. I'll put these slides. I'll share these slides with you. Maybe start to think about who could be in a Mind Your Good Life client. So you can think about how you might start to introduce little elements, little experiments. Think through contracting, what might be different for you, the coaching process, how you would use the transformational canvas, some of the tools, the Wilbur model, the elements, and then the appendices. That's all the things you're going to be covering in the first phase. This is an example taken out of the coaching guide. So there's a guide that takes you through a step-by-step process to try and make it clear what you do when. It's only an example. We had 1 or 2 people in the pilot who were relatively new to coaching and needed a lot more structure. So if you're really experienced, it's not like I'm trying to teach Granny to suck eggs, but it's there if you need it. And then the next steps would be, before the next session, whenever you would like to have that, try and fix a date with your, agree who you're going to work with. If you are in a pod, fix a date to work, or maybe we'll provisionally say we'll meet on the 27th in 3 weeks' time. If it doesn't work for you, we can change it. Agree this target date, well, let's say the 27th. You can change it if it doesn't work for you later. Go through Learning Adventure 1, complete the exercises, skip all the optional elements, at least to start with. Don't feel that you have to go through every single question. Just pick the ones that resonate for you at the moment. Meet with the pod members, and then we check in at the end of phase 1 just to see how you're doing. Okay. Any questions before?
So ideally, how it worked before.
All right, so we're coming to the end now. If you've got any questions, any concerns, you just reach out. I'm with you along the journey. Yeah, I mean, one of the things we might do in the future, I'm going to suggest with the pilot group, is that we form a sort of for those of you interested, those of you who are independent and are trying to build business around this, we could come together and have a sort of a business development group, so we can help each other turn this into a revenue earning work, if that's of interest to you. Okay, so that's it. Enjoy it. I hope you do.
Thank you, Rob.
There is quite a bit in the first phase, but I think you'll find it useful.
Thank you.
Thank you, and very best of luck. Lovely to see you all again.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.